Are you kidding me? What did we just see today? Well, the Arizona Diamondbacks lose their third series in a row. This one to a team that they absolutely should not have been dominated by the way that they were today. We have more on Zac Gallen being bad, Paul Skenes being good, and the Diamondbacks being awful. Don't you go anywhere. We're starting in 30 seconds. Well, welcome in to Studio K, presented by our friends in Circle K. You are watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. My name is Derek Montilla, occasionally known as a man who in the moment right now would probably prefer to be covering any team besides this team with the way that they played baseball today. Welcome in to you all. I got my guy Shane on the ones and twos today. And you know things are going to get weird with Shane here, but of course things got weird today with Paul Skenes on the mound for the Pirates and Zac Gallen on the mound for the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks lose this one to the Pittsburgh Pirates. You ready for this? 10-1. 10-1 is what they lose today. The Diamondbacks officially are sinking. I don't know, as far as you could think that they would sink. The Diamondbacks right now sit at a record of 27. 27-29 this season, 2 games below 500. Again, I don't know if we're ever going to see Ketel Marte go up the mountain again, but today was a really bad outing for Zac Gallen. There's a lot of things that we could talk about here with Zac Gallen, but Paul Skenes does get his first win as a member of the Pittsburgh Pirates since April 25th. By my calculations, that's over a month that he went winless, despite the fact that he is very good at pitching, as we saw here today. Welcome in to you guys. Great to have you here. Of course, this show is brought to you by our friends at Game Time and Bet365. Make sure to use our code of PHNX over at Game Time. When you get your first purchase, you'll get $20 off that purchase. Of course, use our code of PHNX365 over at Bet365. You'll get yourself basically some bonus bets for betting just $5. This one was rough to watch in every conceivable way. And I mean, today started off good for me, at least. The Nemeth brothers from TNA brought their TNA Tag Team Championships to Chase Field. I talked Baxter into helping me possibly alleviate them of those. I think Baxter and I would make a great tag team, but I do know that Baxter and I would make a much better team than the Diamondbacks made as a baseball team today. I don't know what to say about what we saw. I know a lot of you watched this game, and I think that the one thing that comes to mind is that this team seemed to give up in this game, like it carried over from last night. Like the team kind of gave up in the 5th inning and beyond, and they did not kick it into gear today. Not only were they kind of listless offensively, and again, this is going up against Paul Skenes, so I'm not going to act like, again, they weren't going up against one of the best starting pitchers in baseball. But what I will say is that the Diamondbacks had several opportunities. It felt like they, again, were giving themselves some pretty decent at-bats against Paul Skenes, but, really just got themselves so far behind on the other side of the ball. Zac Gallen was not good today. He had another terrible outing at Chase Field. And when you look back about what happened with Zac Gallen today, it mostly had to do with getting behind in the first runner, right? The first runner of each inning, Zac Gallen was basically putting on at times and getting himself into a situation. In the second inning, he walks Alexander Canario. He also walked 2 other batters as leadoff walks for innings, and all 3 of those runners scored. And forget the end score of the Diamondbacks losing 10-1. Those 3 runs generated by Zac Gallen essentially walking the leadoff batter of an inning and then giving up a single to the next batter, usually advancing that runner all the way to third, was enough in itself to lose this game. Again, Gallen was just bad today, and he's been bad so far at Chase Field far too often when you look back at some of his outings, I mean, Zac Gallen's last outing prior to today was a 5-inning, 6 earned run outing against the Colorado Rockies. He went 5 2/3 before that, giving up 4 runs. Pretty much the shining outings here at home were against the Mets, where he went 7 innings and only gave up 1 hit. But Zac Gallen's home ERA this season currently stands at 6.38. And I don't know really what to do in regards to that. I don't know what the difference there is for Zac Gallen. I know a lot of people have already began the Zac Gallen trade discussions. As we've talked about before, how do you trade a guy that currently has the ERA that Zac Gallen? Not to say that a lot of teams in the league wouldn't still see value in Gallen and see that if maybe a change of scenery would be an improvement for him or get him back on track. But he currently has a 5.54 ERA this season. Again, today he goes 5 innings. He gives up 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. It's the walks and the strikeouts being equal, not a good thing. Again, not an excessive amount of walks, other than the fact that all 3 of them were leadoff walks, and all 3 of those runners ended up scoring. And again, I know that there's a lot to be talked about there as far as the rest of the day, the rest of the runs allowed. A lot of those runs were generated by some terrible defense. I said yesterday's loss was one of the worst losses of the season, and I don't know if that's quantifiable or not. I don't know if based on the fact that the Pirates aren't a very good team, or if the fact that, I know the Diamondbacks have had bigger comeback losses or other games where they were a little bit more heart-wrenching. But I think, again, no disrespect to this Pirates team, they came into this to this particular series with the Diamondbacks with 19 wins this season. They had not won a game when being down in the 7th inning and beyond this year, right? And of course, they did that yesterday, and that big part of the reason why that particular outing was so heartbreaking and so awful. But today, what we saw was just a bad performance by this Diamondbacks team. Scott Mack in the comments says Torey has lost this team. There's no more doubt. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but I can say that based on what we saw today, they did not play together. They did not galvanize based on what happened yesterday. It did not look like a team that was coming out there to prove that they aren't as bad as what happened yesterday was. Now, I'm going to probably say this, Shane, entirely too many times, but Paul Skenes was on the mound today. So, I mean, as much as I want to rage at the sky for the offense and their lack of production, they were up against one of the best pitchers.
Was Paul Skenes hitting too?
No, Paul Skenes was not hitting, though. No, yeah, you're right about that. He did not go 4 for 4 today, and he did not. He's not the reason why the Diamondbacks lost this game. Defense
Paul
is probably
Skenes, notoriously not Archie Bradley.
Correct. Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, doesn't have that triple under his belt just yet, but I don't know, man. Again, some of the other comments. Ernesto says yesterday's loss was top 4. I was talking to Gambo. Gambo's keeping a running tally, and we were trying to rank the losses. And that seems like a futile effort that just makes me sad and makes me not want to talk about this anymore, because my God, Jesse brought some perspective last night, and that perspective is something to keep in mind, right? The Diamondbacks did end up going on to win a whole bunch of games last season. I know what the end result was. I know that they did not reach their ultimate goal of the postseason, but the Diamondbacks did have an improvement from 2023 to 2024. And that was still with this team looking absolutely dead in the water around this same time of the year last year. So if people are asking, because I have been saying at times it's early, I've been talking about, at least extending your hope a little bit further. I think that's the reason why. I think that is the reason why we've seen this team have a worse record this early in the year. And again, it's just not really a situation where you are literally out of time. But I just don't know if I see the same glimpses from this team that I saw from last year that made me believe that they were going to be a better team than they were last year. Again, we discussed this last night. You kind of put a lot of that on the expectations from what happened in 2023, and that maybe, that weight was weighing on them a little bit heavy when they started the season. We also probably made excuses for, their short offseason and other factors that we felt played in to their poor play early on. Now this year, things are different, and I don't really know if those excuses are there, and I can't really say much other than, again, this team is almost a third of the way through the season. They are still adjusting to new coaches and different philosophies after having a third base coach over there that had been there in Paris Chica for a very long time. And again, Sean Larkin and the coaching staff, again, Brian Kaplan with the pitchers, they're all trying, but I don't know exactly who's to blame. Today, I felt like it was an effort. I think I saw it in the chat from Caesar. He said team quit on Torey. And that's kind of what I saw today. They quit on Torey today 100%. I don't know what more to say. The poor defensive plays, that's what really made me feel like that is what happened today. The team was making horrific defensive plays, and it was all over the diamond. It wasn't one particular person. You had multiple throwing errors on Jordan Lawlar, who, I mean, honestly, Jordan Lawlar is now 0 for 18 in his major league career since being called up. We have talked about how good his defense has been at times, and I've been very impressed with his skill set and his abilities over there. But today he wasn't like that. Today he was not good. Today he did not do much to help this team win a baseball game. In fact, you could say that he was a big reason why this team lost this game. Again, not the sole reason, but mistakes from the defense continuously ended or extended innings in this game, and you could just see the frustration build up everywhere. And again, it was one of those games where you felt like even routine plays were being botched. And don't get me wrong, Gino made like a really strong throw across the diamond to Josh Naylor, who dropped it. But I mean, we and those plays aren't always necessarily routine. We've just become used to those plays being routine for this game, for this team, for this particular team. Killer Rex says Lawlar was smiling like crazy on second base in a 10-1 game. Ship him to Taipei. I mean, no, but let's just ship him back to Reno, because at this point, I do feel like the Diamondbacks need something more than this, right? The Diamondbacks need they can't have somebody who right now is completely unproductive, and I get it. They're trying to get him through this current slump that he's in, but I just don't know if it's a slump. I just don't know if right now Jordan Lawlar is able to catch up with breaking stuff at a major league level. He was not really good at hitting breaking pitches in Reno, and that has absolutely been his Achilles heel, so far this season. So we got a couple of super chats, or at least one super chat I saw. What do we got up there? Mark R says Zach's fastball and curveball don't tunnel like they used to. Look at his baseball savant. They have more horizontal run in opposite directions than ever before. And I mean, Zach's curveball today was not landing. It didn't feel like it was fooling very many people. His fastball has just been lost this season, quite frankly. And I don't know. I don't know the reason behind it. I don't know if it's intrepidation. I do know that he was getting squeezed a little bit earlier in this game. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I have it in me to throw shade. I don't know if the officiating crew necessarily deserves it with how bad the Diamondbacks are playing, but I need to throw some shade, Shane. I just need to throw shade at somebody, and I'm just gonna the officiating crew is just gonna have to do it. Well, let's get some shade throwing music, please. I don't have energy for this. I was up until 2:00 in the morning last night, and then I had to be back here at the yard basically at 9 a.m. I don't have the energy to yell at you, officiating crew. But my God, the Diamondbacks didn't need what they got out of you in the last 2 days. And quite frankly, God damn it, I will say it. I think that after a pitcher or a home plate umpire is as bad as Chris Conroy was in yesterday's game, the next guy up, he needs to step up and he needs to do a good job. We didn't get that today. We didn't get that out of Brendan Miller. Brendan Miller was squeezing Zac Gallen from the get-go. Brendan Miller was giving Paul Skenes the exact same pitches on the other side of the rubber or on the same side of the rubber. It didn't matter. You can go through and look at the score sheets today, and I am so sick. I could throw shade at that goddamn bumper zone on game day too. I am sick of that. We don't know. There's no more 2 inches. Remember, the umpires went into a secret meeting and decided to reduce it down to 3/4 of an inch. So that bumper needs to be smaller. And those pitches were outside. The pitches from Zac Gallen, those were the Paul Skenes ones. The Zac Gallen ones, they were in the zone. And Zac Gallen needed all the help he could get today, quite frankly. I don't know if, an umpire can really derail an outing for Zac Gallen. Again, when you look at his numbers at home, I could throw shade at Zac Gallen for just being bad at home. He has a 6.38 ERA at home. I mean, his ERA in general is really bad, but his at home one is even worse. And that pisses me off. But what pisses me off more is that these umpires can't go out there and call. I don't care where your strike zone is. It could be this goddamn big. It could be a circle. It could be a triangle. I don't care what it is. Why can't you call it the same for both pitchers? Maybe it's the impact of the catcher. Maybe I'm being too simple here. I have gone down rabbit holes of the impacts catchers behind the plate can have on a home plate umpire calling balls and strikes, the distance where they're catching it from, even sometimes when they're trying to be too tricky with their glove work and pull stuff back in the middle. Sometimes umpires are like, no, I'm not falling for that crap, right? This is different. You were bad today, and you were bad yesterday, and so are the Diamondbacks, and I'm really just taking it out on you because I want to scream at this entire team and organization. Oh, this is bad. This was a bad loss, and it was not made any easier by this officiating crew who, again, when the Diamondbacks play a guy of Paul Skenes' caliber, you just really want to be beat by a guy that's getting the same calls as your pitcher, right? I'm not going to say Paul Skenes absolutely outpitched Zac Gallen today. He did not need the assistance of the home plate umpire, Brendan Miller, in order for him to outpitch Zac Gallen today. But what Zac Gallen could have used was some calls. He could have used the calls at least on the pitches that he was making. And I hope your umpire scorecard is as bad as I feel like it should be. That's all I got, Shane.
That was one of my favorites.
I need a nap. I need a nap is really what I need.
There was a crescendo there.
Yeah.
It was much like a really good short story, which I think is necessary for this segment. There was an exposition, there was a climax, and then the ending was abrupt, but it was there.
It just I don't have the energy for like a true like twist ending. Like I wanted to put like a spin on there.
An M. Night Shyamalan ending.
Yeah, I really wanted to Shyamalan them, but maybe next time.
You ever seen The Village?
Oh yes, I've seen The Village.
I hated it.
I hated myself for watching that movie. See, this guy, he watches movies. We can have conversation. We should talk about things that aren't this baseball game.
Maybe we can.
Because I don't want to talk about this game anymore. Let's talk about all the bad M. Night Shyamalan movies there are out there. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. On the other side of this break, we're going to talk a little bit more about this offense and why they've been so bad and how the hell they were outscored 19-0 in the last 14 innings by this Pirates team. So don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Of course, I need to take a vacation right now. I would love to take a vacation from my problems, and Gila River Resorts and Casinos is a great place to do that at. Not only do they have 4 wonderful locations all around the valley, and you can experience the best the valley has to offer by going to Wild Horse Pass, Lone Butte, Vaquiva, or Santam Mountain, but you can also check out their gaming floor with over 4,500 slots and live table games, as well as their incredible sportsbook over at the BetMGM Sportsbook. You can catch their massive screens. Of course, right now you can catch all of the NBA playoff action, NHL playoff action, and MLB season and more. Of course, something I really enjoyed was watching the Indy 500. My wife has got me into racing now, and what I liked most about watching the Indy 500, especially at a place like a sportsbook, is the chaos. So much chaos, like the Diamondbacks used to cause, but don't do it anymore. But if you want a relaxing weekend with a little bit of chaos, check out Gila River Resorts and Casinos with an unprecedented level of entertainment and excitement you just won't find anywhere else. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. And also, of course, whatever the moment is, never ordinary at Bet365. Bet365 makes watching live games more fun, especially games like this. Remember, just because your team loses 10-1 doesn't mean you need to lose. You can go in there when you see your team getting smacked around and maybe jump on the live in-game betting. Bet365 pioneered live in-game betting, and they offer the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 sports. You can get down on their early payout offer with Major League Baseball, where you are a winner if your team goes up by 5 runs or more, with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections, which will be marked as winners. So, of course, make sure to check out Bet365. Of course, new customers right now can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use the code PHNX365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 or more to receive $150 in bonus bets. If your bet wins or loses, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, players, props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Bet365 must be 21 or over and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov. All right. Well, again, the offense today, not very good. Paul Skenes, very, very good for the Pirates. I was hoping that in Torey Lovullo's time of managing Paul Skenes in the All-Star game that from last year, that he would have picked up on something, but apparently no. He didn't get anything from him, but yeah. What Maze Devil was asking about super chats. Do we have a super chat I missed?
No, he's just making sure.
Okay, well, send it over. I'll read it. I don't even need to send a super chat. Just chat with me. I'm glad to have you guys here. Great to see all of you here, by the way. Despite
Sometimes
the fact
I have to send a super chat if I want to talk to you, though.
You're different.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, you're different.
I'm kind of, yeah.
You say mean things to me all the time, and so I have to pick and choose. I got to make you pay, but the Diamondbacks, they didn't make Paul Skenes pay. They were just held to, what was it, 6 hits today? One of those was a Tim Tawa home run, not off of Paul Skenes, but in the 9th inning. Tawa, again, he's a guy that people want to see in there more and more. Jordan Lawlar, unfortunately, is the one that people do not want to see. Josh Naylor was 2 for 4 today. He had some defensive kind of, I don't blame it on Josh Naylor. I once again, I feel like I need to blame it more on Christian Walker, who we're probably going to spy on later today. But I don't know. There's something about the fact that the Diamondbacks make these plays now and they throw it over to first base. And I mean, a lot of times it's a throwing error. A lot of times it's a mistake on the defender making the play over there. But my God, every time a throw is made to first base lately, it feels like it's an adventure. Similar to this bullpen and what happened in the series with this bullpen and what continues to happen all year long, right? Damon said it, and I don't know if I disagree with him. I don't know if I would have felt comfortable with a 10-1 lead. I don't know if I would have written this up as a win at a 10-1, lead for the Diamondbacks, because it just doesn't feel like anything is secure. Nothing is real with this team. This has been some of the worst baseball I've seen them play over a stretch. And it's amazing in how many different ways they've lost baseball games. I'm not even talking about games like they lost in game 2 of this series, where it was an epic collapse, a meltdown of epic proportions. I'm talking about just games where it feels like the Diamondbacks should be in a better position than they're in, should have a solid, easy afternoon. Let's say they go up by 2 runs, 3 runs, and then that's it. We don't have those games. We really don't. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., he at least has a 6-game hitting streak. He's reached base in 12 straight games versus National League Central opponents, and he's hit safely in 7 of his last 9 games against the Pirates. But also Josh Naylor, again, 2 for 4 today. He also has a 7-game hitting streak, and he has a multi-hit game in each of his last 2. So some of these guys that the Diamondbacks need offensively to come online in order for this team to have solid, well-rounded contributions are starting to do so. Corbin Carroll has 8 extra base hits in his last 9 games against the Pirates, but Corbin Carroll also had a 14-game hitless streak that he snapped yesterday with the home run. Today, Corbin Carroll was 1 for 4. So this offense just couldn't string much together against Paul Skenes. And again, I don't know if the end score of 10-1 doesn't really seem to matter much, because it feels like it could have been 2-0 or 3-1 or something like that with the way that this offense was today. It really didn't feel like they were able to generate much, and again, they weren't they just weren't a good team today. I don't know. They weren't taking patient at bats. Didn't feel like they were really making Paul Skenes work. He was able to go pretty deep. He goes 6 2/3. He only gives up 4 hits in his outing. No runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts. In fact, the only walk came there in the 8th inning, and it was by Jordan Lawlar, who got on base and smiled a lot, enough to annoy at least one of you in the chat. But yeah, this is one of those games where, oh man, offensively, they just seemed lost. So King Snake? Nobody gets King Snake today.
Somebody does get the King Snake.
Okay.
And it's somebody near and dear to my heart. It's a baby giraffe that I found on the internet.
Oh my God. Look at him. He's so cute. You've named him Harold?
I've named him Harold.
Oh, that's such a perfect name. Actually, you know what? A baby giraffe definitely deserves it far more than anybody within the Diamondbacks organization. Maybe Baxter, because I felt like Baxter was really amped to step up and fight 2 men with me. And I think that's something that I'm not getting out of the rest of this starting lineup right now.
Who wins in a fight, a baby giraffe or Baxter?
Oh, that's a good question. See, okay, now Baxter has an athletic skill set. However, he also has a heart of gold, right? I don't know if Baxter is going to take the kill shot on the giraffe, right? But baby giraffe is crazy. Baby giraffe will go nuts.
Baby giraffe can never come to certain establishments in Arizona again.
Right, that's right.
After the night out we've had.
Yeah, baby giraffe is a wild man. So
they kept asking if the giraffe was 21, and I kept laughing and saying, "Sir, it's a giraffe."
Can't you see by his neck? Killer X says Livy Dunn must have been. People would have come for us, Killer X, if we would have made Livy Dunn the King Snake. Also, to be fair, I was too busy chasing around pro wrestlers to realize that Livy Dunn was even in the building, and then someone told me that. And I feel like I let you guys down as much as the Diamondbacks let you guys down today.
I think we needed an exclusive one-on-one to fill time on this show.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. See, Fable says baby giraffes are taller than you think, just taking a step backwards to that. So again, that goes to show maybe Baxter doesn't really have a chance. I don't know. I do want to talk about anything other than this game. I feel like I know we have more stats from the series to talk about. I think that going ahead, we talked about the schedule. We talked about the Diamondbacks needing to capitalize on weaker opponents, right? I don't know if I can even call the Pirates a weaker opponent after seeing what they did to the Diamondbacks. What I can say is the Diamondbacks might be the weaker opponent. The Diamondbacks might be the team that other teams get right against. We saw it a little bit with Colorado. The Diamondbacks were like 1 run away from losing that series to Colorado and losing a lot of series in a row. When you look at their schedule, the Diamondbacks have now lost 3 series in a row, and they have the Nationals coming up, who they've already lost to in Washington, and very much could lose to again if they don't take things seriously. Then into the month of June, you got the Braves, you got the Reds, you got this guy's Mariners coming to town. He's definitely going to be in the house for that.
Yeah, I'm taking that Wednesday day game off to go. So if you're there on Wednesday, I'm probably there on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
I don't want to besmirch teams like I did with this Pirates team, because I did this on the schedule at one point. But after you get through this stretch, the Mariners are a pretty good team. The Padres are a very good team, right? You have the Blue Jays, who are playing some pretty decent baseball right now. Then at the end of the month of June, you go Rockies, White Sox, Marlins. Why are you like I know people have been waiting, Shane, for me to like call a time of death on this season. And as much as I feel like a bad showing against the Nationals in this next series could very well do that, I will say that the Diamondbacks, they're on the clock is ticking, and they don't have a lot of time to get things right. Not only do they have to figure out how to win against some of these tougher opponents that they have before then, but my God, if they go into the bottom third of June, those final 10 days of June, and they start losing series to teams like the Marlins, the White Sox, and the Rockies, then it's a wrap.
Well,
it's a wrap.
Just like Tanner says, they're the get-right team right now.
They are the get-right. We are, exactly. We are the team that teams come in, get right against, have a great showing, get their season back on track. Bruinist says Lawlar called up, ruined the vibes. I tried to warn you all. I tried to tell you. You guys were demanding it. Not you, maybe not you, Brunist, but other people here in the chat, other people online and social media. They all wanted Jordan Lawlar up. And I'll tell you the reason why. Because we want an answer. The fans at times, and especially with how good young players have been when they've been called up to the Diamondbacks, fans expected Jordan Lawlar, despite the fact that he's already been called up and did not perform well the last time he was called up. They thought he was going to come up. They thought he was going to, be that guy, and especially with the numbers he was putting up for Reno. Unfortunately, that's not the case. In all honesty, I think that what we need Ketel Marte back in the lineup. He's been gone with the flu. I think he was missing in these 2 games, and a big reason why the Diamondbacks offense kind of was completely listless, especially after the 4th inning yesterday and again today. But I also think, like, for instance, those 2 guys, Corbin, Carroll, and Ketel Marte, those guys have not gotten going in the same game yet. I brought up Steve Zinsmeister's tweet yesterday, but Ketel Marte and Corbin Carroll do not have multi-hit games in the same game, nor have they both homered in the same game. Like, this team still feels so disjointed and broken at times, and still not all together with their best lineup out on the field, that gives me hope. That's what I'm still reserving hope for, is the fact that we still haven't seen this team come together and play its best baseball. Now, maybe we don't, right? Like, maybe that's just a pipe dream that doesn't happen this season. Maybe they never get things back on track. And I'm not saying that that's not a possibility. I'm saying that, again, this is echoing the sentiment from Torey, from the front office, from just people I talk to at Chase Field. This team is too goddamn good to be losing baseball games the way they are. And especially with what happened in this series, this was a huge wake-up call. This kind of is rock bottom. We've had some awful losses this year, but those awful losses, when you look back at them, they were against the Dodgers. They were against the Cubs. They were against teams that, at the very least, if you are if you needed to cope, you could cope by saying, we lost to that team. There's no coping with this series loss to the Pirates. There's no again, they could have lost today and that would have been fine, and they still won the series 2 games out of 3. Losing today, losing yesterday, and losing the series is god awful. Guys like Scotty Mack want us to go in there with Torey Lovullo and roast him in his media availability and blame him for everything. And I once again wonder, where is this same energy for you guys to want us to roast the players? Where is the screaming at the players for lack of performance? Where is the getting angry at Kevin Ginkel and only Kevin Ginkel, maybe a little bit at Jalen Beeks for blowing yesterday's game, rather than getting mad at other things? And trust me, I do this. I come in and I say the bullpen, right? So I just say everybody in the bullpen sucks, and that's not the case. You know why? Because Scott McGuff doesn't suck. Well, yeah, he kind of sucks a little bit, but he doesn't suck. He doesn't really. I don't know. He sucked today, but he didn't suck before today. That's for sure. He currently has a 3.00 ERA this season, and a lot of that is from the 2 runs that he allowed today on that. What was it? The home run to O'Neill. But this team is just better than how they're playing right now. But they have to prove it. They have to prove it. It's kind of like the whole Torey Lovullo thing of Diamondbacks baseball that we discussed last night. This isn't Diamondbacks baseball. This isn't the brand of baseball we play, blah, blah, blah. Then prove it and show us what that brand of baseball is. As far as I'm concerned, that brand of baseball may have died with Christian Walker leaving this team. It may have died when Tony Perez-Chica left this team. I don't know. It's kind of like what we've talked about in the past with the pitching staff. The starters, outside from Zac Gallen, seem to have gotten things a bit back on track, but Zac Gallen still can't figure things out. Last year, it felt like a lot of the blame was being placed on Brent Strom, and people felt like Brent Strom had kind of lost the players. A lot of the narrative about Brent Strom is very similar to the narrative that people are pushing this year about Torey Lovullo, and I don't know, because so far Brent Strom doesn't necessarily look like he was the problem, with at least the bullpen being as bad as it's been, and Zac Gallen being, kind of lost the way he is. And again, Zac Gallen was not extremely sharp last season either, so it's not like this is a sudden thing with Gallen. It's, has a lot to do with his fastball. I think our super chat earlier definitely addressed what's going on with his fastball and his curveball as well, but it's mostly the fastball. The fastball is becoming a problem for this team right now. Or excuse me, not this team, but for Zac Gallen. But I want to look at the baby giraffe again really fast. Can we do that, Shane? Because that's the only thing this entire hour so far that has made. Oh man, look how cute he is. He's adorable. All right, I feel better. Let's go ahead and let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. On the other side of this break, we're going to talk about the numbers from this series. And again, I'm going to continue to kind of make you guys sad, and then hopefully we can laugh about the fact that the Diamondbacks had to go sign another infielder because Ildemaro Vargas opted out of his contract. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Of course, right now is a great time for you to go out and try Pure Edibles, right? I said it yesterday. This is another game that makes you want to forget about the game, makes you at least want to be in a better mood. And a great way to be in a better mood is with Pure Edibles. Their candies have some uplifting effects. They also have some wonderful sleep edition gummies, which I could have used last night to get a good night's sleep. Their gummies offer sleep support as well as candies with uplifting effects derived from unique cannabinoids. They have different candies, not just gummies. They have hard candies, they have chews. They also have their kicks, which are their version of Starburst. And they're not all covered with sugar like all these other candy companies are, or all these other edible companies are. They were created right here in Flagstaff, Arizona at Noble Herb Dispensary, and they are now made proudly in Phoenix, Arizona. So go find yourself some Pure Edibles from one of over 130 dispensaries across our fine state of Arizona. And speaking of Arizona, it is that time of the year. It is hot. The sun is out pretty much the entire day. Like all waking hours, the sun is up, and you need to extend your outdoor living space so that you can have some enjoyable time outdoors this summer. Do that with our friends at All Pro Shade Concepts. They have hundreds of designs and colors to choose from to match any home. They will also work with your HOA to ensure that they are HOA compliant, and they can add fun little features like remote control, LED lights, and so much more. They also have roll down patio shades that can keep your patio up to 20 degrees cooler. You can put those shades in your home and they do the same thing. Keep your home cooler, save on those energy bills, and of course, reduce those harmful UV rays. Blocks up to 95% of those UV rays. So check them out. They can replace and fix most old or outdated patio shades and motorized awnings. And they were voted the most trusted local shade company by Ranking Arizona for patio shades in 2024. So give them a call at 623-204-1476 or visit allproshadeconcepts.com now to schedule your free estimate. And check out Espo's thing. He got them in his house, and I've never been more jealous of how cool those roll down shades are. But what's also cool is becoming part of our Die Hard family. And now is a great time to do that, of course, with our $36 Die Hard Summer Flash Sale. Right now, it goes down from May 28th. Will run for 2 days only. So if you are not a Die Hard already, if you missed our past sale and want to get down on it, now is the time to do so. Of course, every show around here loves you guys. We love you being a part of our Die Hard, and we all have some wonderful merch. You get the free t-shirt as part of this deal. You also get yourself some wonderful benefits, including our Discord lounge, which is the best place to be an Arizona sports fan. You save on our events, you save on merch, you save on purchases. You have a great time with us. And of course,
you save on the events like my birthday party.
Oh, God. Here goes Shane once again hijacking our pool party on July 3rd, which is Shane's birthday.
Which is my birthday.
And that is where we all are going to be. We're all going to be at Chase Field having a great time. You should join us for that. Tickets are very limited. But like Shane said, if you join us and become a Die Hard first, you will save on your tickets for that event. So make sure to check us out. Do it now. We only have limited time offer. It's going to be gone before you know it. You're going to regret that you didn't do it. It's basically the price of one of our t-shirts. So I don't know what you're waiting for. Do it now.
I'm paying to have friends because I'm buying my ticket to go to this thing. So
That's crazy.
I'm paying to have friends.
That's sad.
Yeah, nobody wanted. I got this is a quote from my friend the other day. Shane, I would rather drown in a pool than go to the Dbacks pool with you. That's what they said. And I said, that's very hurtful. Why would you say that?
Right.
Yeah. That was it. And then he walked away.
Are you gonna bring him to the pool and drown him?
No, he doesn't.
Oh,
he would rather. He would rather drown. No, completely separate pool.
I felt like this was a murder.
Nobody will be drowning in the Dbacks pool.
Okay. I just didn't. Like the PR staff is going to ask me questions about that. I feel like they're going to blame me for some reason. But yeah, no, we'll definitely make sure that we don't honor you on your birthday at that pool party. No,
you're just like my friends.
Yeah, I know. I am one of your friends.
My friends are nasty.
Yeah, I have bad friends too, but I love them. So what I don't love is looking at the numbers from this series. I do love Desert Financial for providing us with our numbers and of course getting me in my home, get my home ownership journey started. But this is ugly. This is gross. The Diamondbacks get outscored by the Pirates 19-12 in this series. Diamondbacks hit more home runs than them. They 4 to the Pirates 3. Runners in scoring position, Diamondbacks were 5 for 24. Four of those, Shane, came from game 2. They were 1 for 8 in game 1 and 0 for 3 in game 3, 4 for 11 in game 2. Meanwhile, the Pirates, 11 for 38, not very good themselves, but entirely too many opportunities for that Pirates team to score. What's even more disgusting are these ERA numbers for the Diamondbacks and the Pirates there. Starting pitching ERA, 5.40. You swapped these. Thank God. 3.37 was the Diamondbacks.
Oh, wow.
5.40 is the Pirates.
I didn't think that could have been possible.
No,
That's
you
why.
couldn't.
I thought that was a typo for you.
Definitely. No, well, because the only good outing the Pirates really got was today. They got 6 2/3 today out of that guy named Paul Skenes with the nice mustache.
I like Tanner saying 10.8 really ERA is good ERA for that.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's the average. It's a season average, right? That 1.64 is very correct for the Pirates, though. They only allowed 2 earned runs in this series in 11 innings pitched, so not great. Not great for the Diamondbacks. Overall, this is one of those series where obviously the relief pitching is the big reason why we're staring down at this, but that's just the series loss. Today, I feel like the Diamondbacks were outmatched by the Pirates, and I don't really have an answer for today. I think Paul Skenes, again, tip of the cap to Skenes for what he did. And I just would have liked to see it a little bit closer. I would like to see Gallen not go out there and implode and give up 5 earned runs and 5 innings pitched. I would like to see Zac Gallen not have a 6.86 home ERA this season. And what's weird is I feel like when we talk about, 6.38 home ERA this season, I feel like what we talk about is the same stuff with Zac Gallen too. So I don't know. It goes to show how difficult baseball can be, how difficult hitting can be, how difficult pitching can be, and especially on a day like this where the Pirates didn't seem to have any problem with their 11 hits that they got in this game. It was like watching, a varsity team versus a JV team today. And that's it. That's really what today felt like. I think that there was a lack of effort, and then also just kind of being overmatched too, right? There was the fact that you saw him trying some stuff early against Paul Skenes, but once the Diamondbacks were down, especially in that, that once that 6th inning came and the Pirates scored 5 runs, it was a wrap. It was a wrap for the Diamondbacks. And what's sadder is that Gallen left this team and Murillo comes in. He gives up 2 earned runs. Scott McGough gives up the 2 earned runs in his inning of work there in the 8th inning. And they just continued to let this game get away from them. There was at no point that anybody could stop the bleeding so that possibly the Diamondbacks could muster up some sort of comeback. That's absolutely what happened in yesterday's game. The Diamondbacks go off. They score 6 runs in the first 4 innings of game 2. And then that's when the Pirates bullpen got particularly stingy and did not allow another run. Diamondbacks then get outscored 19-1 because Tim Tawa offered us that little home run there in the inning. 19-1 in the last 14 innings versus the Pirates. So Knights
that's
20,
bad.
Knights 23. It's bad. Knights 23 says Gallen isn't an ace. Let's just call it how it is. Yeah, and again, there's a lot to say about Gallen. There's a lot of negative things to say. I will say that Zac Gallen still has proven in the past that if he can not walk guys, especially the first batter of several innings, he can definitely be effective. But I will say that this is not great for Zac. This is not great for his walk year. And I don't know about his future with the Diamondbacks. What I will say for those of you that are asking for his for him to be traded, what are you going to get in return for him? And is that return going to be satisfactory? Right at this point, he has a 5.54 ERA, and he ranks as one of the worst starting pitchers in baseball currently as far as ERA is concerned. His stuff isn't great. There's a lot of things here that would indicate that Zac Gallen right now is not pitching very well. And again, it's about what is a organization going to give up, especially knowing that he's a free agent at the end of the season. So I just don't think that there's any path there where Zac Gallen can even be considered to be traded. Not to mention the fact that you do, and then all of a sudden he turns it around and it makes you look like absolute idiots when he goes and shoves for a different team. He obviously pitches better when he's not at Chase Field, so there's that, right? But I just think that you're going to immediately regret it because he's going to make you regret it. You trade him, he's going to go elsewhere, and he's going to literally shove it down the Diamondbacks' throat that they shouldn't have traded him.
I think we do need to talk about this. Piece of Yoshi brings up, does Isaiah Kiner Falefa sacrifice a goat before every game? Jesus, the XBA on some of his hits. I think we might need to look into this. Maybe we can float this the D-backs way. No real sacrifices, because of course that's horrible. But maybe like a stuffed animal sacrifice before a game, or
you want to cut off Jesse Jr.'s head, don't you? That's exactly where you're getting at with this, and I don't like it. They already did that once. They already blamed it on the home run snake. We can't blame it on the home run snake again. It's not his fault. I sewed his head back on. Oh, you guys are monsters. Blame it on the baby giraffe. The baby giraffe is a
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Even with I know what he can do against like the physical prowess that he has. I said that he would beat Baxter in a fight, and here I am besmirching his good name.
Wow.
I don't know. This was one of those games where I don't know. There's not a lot of good to say. There's not a lot of good to say.
We should just go to our final break, I think.
I do want to just do that. Can we just go to our final break?
Let's do it.
And then can we just roll this show up into a heap and throw it in the trash? Because I don't ever want to talk about this series, the Pirates, or maybe even the Diamondbacks again. But we're going to on the other side of this break in about 2 minutes. So don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Big news, of course, from Sanderson Ford. We've been talking about it quite a bit on this program, but if you are interested in getting a vehicle, if you are in the market for a new vehicle, now is the time to check out Sanderson Ford. Ford just announced their From America for America employee pricing, and now you pay the same as the owner of Sanderson Ford himself on the full lineup of new Fords with no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense, and most importantly, no added markups, which you could get at other Ford dealerships who are still holding the same promotion. On top of employee pricing, you're going to get additional Ford incentives on over 1,000 vehicles over at Sanderson Ford for their Platinum 70th anniversary sale. Plus, in celebration of their 70th anniversary sale, stop in and get a pair of tickets to an Arizona Diamondbacks game. Again, just for stopping in and saying hi. No test drive required. In fact, you don't even have to say hi. Just go in and go, here's my tickets. Give me my tickets. Because they don't have a requirement that tells me you have to say hi. They say that you come in and help celebrate their 70th anniversary and check out what they have to offer, because Sanderson Ford has the inventory and the customer service that you're looking for to buy a new vehicle, especially if you are in the market for it right now. So check out everything Sanderson Ford has to offer. It does exclude the 2025 Expedition, Super Duty, Raptor Family, Mustang, and Bronco specialty vehicles. And those with the one pair of tickets per household with a valid driver's license to a July 6th game versus the Kansas City Royals while their supply of 200 tickets lasts. So do not hesitate. Get out there today. Also, if you are in need of a great company to help your brand stand apart from the crowd, look to Branded Bills. If you need snapbacks, truckers, fitted hats, beanies, it doesn't matter. They have you covered with the best custom headwear, and you can start your order. Their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel you need. They have partnerships with ASU, U of A, and other collegiate teams. They also partner with the Phoenix Suns, and they're a local company from right here in Mesa, Arizona. We had the pleasure of checking out their facility. They're a great company with a high quality product, and I love their hats. So head to brandedbills.com and use code BBPHNX for 10% off your first order. That's brandedbills.com and code BBPHNX.
We got a couple super chats.
Let's get to it. What do we got in the super chat world?
We got Maze Devils.
Oh, Maze Devils, my guy.
He says, great to see Shelby was available to pitch in a 10-run game and not yesterday. Phenomenal work from our stalwart leader.
That's that's and especially with the size lead that they had, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. You bring Shelby Miller in the 8th inning, and then you bring someone else in the 9th inning, and then they blow it. I don't know. I don't know. It felt like one of my biggest criticisms with the loss in game 2 had to be how rigid Torey was about the game plan. Regardless of how Kevin Ginkel pitched, it felt like Kevin Ginkel was going to be in there until O'Neal Cruz was up, and then he was going to go to Jalen Beeks, and that was the game plan. And honestly, I guess the most frustrating part about that for me is that I feel like in life, we all know that sometimes things don't go to plan, right? Sometimes things go sideways on you, especially with how this bullpen has been pitching lately. You can't really trust any particular arm to go out there and be consistent. So you kind of have to be vigilant. You kind of have to, in the back of your mind, doubt that the guy on the mound is going to get it done so that you come up with a contingency plan. You get another arm up in the bullpen while Kevin Ginkel is out there. So should things go sideways, you don't have to wait until O'Neill Cruz comes up. You can do something about it prior to that. Jesse did an excellent job last night of breaking down all the second guessing that we could have done of that inning last night. But at the end of the day, it really didn't feel like much, like you could blame it on much other than the guys not getting the job done. Right. And again, you could blame it a little bit on Torey. Maybe you could have pulled Kevin Ginkel out one batter before that. But Jalen Beeks comes into the game. He gives up that big home run, and neither guy really deserves to be free of blame here. They both deserve blame, and Torey deserves blame for not being more proactive about getting another reliever up there. And that could be something that he could be criticized about quite a bit. Like, there's a 3-batter rule. These guys have to face 3 batters. If after 3 batters, you haven't seen a single competitive pitch from a guy like Kevin Ginkel, who in his last outing, the jokes were that his final pitch was the only good pitch he threw of that entire outing, then maybe that's a lack of awareness on Torey's part for sure. What else we got? We got another super chat.
Another super chat from Brian saying our playoff chances are about as real as the WWE.
Okay, no, get Brian. You're out of here.
Brian, you can stay.
Yeah,
and you can sit next to me at the Mariners game. I have a seat for you.
Yeah, no, ban Brian from the chat forever. The Diamondbacks did sign infielder Nicky Lopez to a minor league contract. That's only a big deal because they just lost Ildemaro Vargas, who opted out of his contract, most likely to sign with a major league club. Lopez is a versatile defender, just like Vargas, just like Lawlar. He has close to 700 games of major league experience going back to 2019. And he's slashing in his career 245, 310, 311. And he has 7 home runs. So not a guy that's going to add a ton of offense. However, a guy that might be able to come up and hit at a major league level and just provide you with more, provide you with something more productive than what Jordan Lawlar is currently providing you with. And that could be the reason why the Diamondbacks signed Nicky Lopez. Again, if Lawlar does get called or sent down, there's a good chance that the Diamondbacks could go to Lopez here pretty quickly. He has played over 2,000 innings at both shortstop and second base. And then he has some time playing third, and he has a little bit of time playing in left field. So the versatility is there for what Torey Lovullo likes, but I don't know. Sean says, no, Derek, Nicky is our savior. I hope so. Well, let's start doing the same thing with him that we did with Jordan Lawlar. Why not? Let's say once Nicky Lopez gets here, everything is going to be right. But yeah, let's see. I will say that I don't know. I mean, the Diamondbacks need that veteran sometimes. I mean, they've had it in the past and it's worked out, even when you got an Evan Longoria over there who didn't have the greatest batting average, but was contributing and brought, I think, a little bit of veteran leadership that this team might be lacking. I mean, I don't know. Like, Ketel's one of the vets. Randall Grichuk's one of the vets. Like, this team doesn't necessarily have that grizzled old vet to kind of keep them youngsters in line. So I maybe that's what's missing. Maybe we can get him in here.
But I liked your optimistic brain trying to be like, and then your actual brain was like, no, this sucks.
Yeah, no, it's not good. I tried. I'm going to try to talk myself into it. We got to remain positive. You guys ask me why? Because I have to do this show 5 days a week. I can't come in here being all negative.
No.
I get to do the show 5 days. I get to do the show 5 days a week. I know. Shane tries to get me to say that all the time.
I get you to say that.
You do get to. What we get to do is we get to spy on our exes about Christian Walker. Christian Walker apparently turns into Barry Bonds every 5 days, but Christian Walker, let's spy on our ex. We spy on Christian Walker a lot, but Christian Walker had to leave today's game after getting hit in the hand during an at-bat, which we know far too well. Christian Walker remains like he's just this guy that is constantly held back by his injuries. And again, this is another one of those cases. It felt like Walker is finally getting on track a little bit for the Houston Astros, even though maybe some of you don't want to see that. Maybe some of you want to see him continue to have a 177 batting average, but he did get hit in the hand today. He tried to stay in the game, but he did have to leave out of the game. The x-rays were negative. So again, Christian Walker, we send our best. Hopefully Christian Walker is doing great. We don't ever want to see our guys get dinged up, or again, talked a little bit about still calling Jock Peterson and Christian Walker are guys. Meanwhile, Jock Peterson, he's still struggling as well. He currently has a negative .8 BWAR this season. He's batting 131 with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. So things could be worse. And again, if we did, let's see, GCBO, said, did Jock and Walker break their hands in the same week? I don't know. Did Jock Peterson also break his hand? Because that would at least explain a little bit as to why he's been so bad. But I don't.
Did you see what Christian Walker did to the Mariners the other night?
Yes, I did.
That hurt.
I did. Yeah, you guys are right. Jock Peterson is currently sidelined with a hand fracture, just as he was starting to actually hit. So, yep, Diamondbacks, both of their previous guys that we like to spy on, not doing great this year. Both of them are hurt. Again, Diamondbacks lose today. Paul Skenes has allowed 6 hits or fewer in each of his 35 starts to begin his career. Does that illustrate how good that man is? I'll say that again. Paul Skenes has allowed 6 hits or fewer in each of his first 35 starts to begin his career, the longest such streak to start a career in Major League Baseball history.
They should trade him to the Yankees. It just sounds like what they need to do.
That's one thing that I absolutely hate about baseball and about teams that suck is that, yeah, quite often teams that suck do have a superstar player on there. In fact, it kind of used to be more regular, right? When I was younger, when maybe you were younger, I don't know, when you were a young giraffe yourself, the teams, did one of two things. They tried to build a winner or they tried to get butts in seats at the stadium, right? And so it felt like a common thing for every team in almost every sport to try to go out there and have at least one superstar on their team that made you come to see that team, at least for that guy, right? And now it seems like this is, especially in baseball, this is what happens. Like, your team sucks. Nope, you're not going to build around him. You're just going to make him wait it out. And then eventually you're either going to lose him to free agency or you're going to trade him for, hopefully, like, that's where you trade him for a bundle that hopefully gets your franchise back on track. But you're always going to say, remember when we had Paul Skenes?
I'll ask, or I'll blame the StatCast era. I don't know what they've done wrong, but I'm going to blame it.
No, the StatCast era is very absolutely,
their fault.
Absolutely. Launch angles and exit velos, that's absolutely what's to blame here. But Killer Rex says deferred contract 2 for Skenes when he goes to the Dodgers. Yeah. Thanks, Killer Rex. That makes us feel better. I did have a legitimate thank you before we get out of here, because I think it was not 1 week ago, but basically almost like Monday last week. You guys surprised me with a wonderful bounty that I did not deserve. I received my Serpientis Mayor jersey and made me ugly cry a little bit. And I went kind of on a revenge kind of streak, Shane. I went on down this path of making sure that I figured out each and every individual that was responsible for this act. And I was going to make sure that I had some sort of vengeance, some sort of payback for their kindness. And now I think I figured it out. I have a list that I've compiled. So I'm just going to run down this list. Chris, your son Aiden, Karen, and Cogs, the 2 of you. I got Nicholas, Zabe. I know Zabe was in on this. Albert, maybe Bread. Not sure if Bread, but of course, CWP. And
Derek's going to get you all.
Let me see. I'm just trying to figure it out. I know I'm missing somebody. I'm missing Ogre McFubin. That's who I'm missing. Ogre McFubin. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I thank you so much for it. And you guys are absolutely the best. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for making, especially this kind of crappy period of time in Diamondbacks baseball, so incredible for me, at least on a personal note.
If Kill Bill is like hunting down people, what are you doing if you're hunting down people to give them a hug?
I'm giving them a hug. I'm surprising them with dinner.
Are you Chill Bill?
Yeah, I'm Chill Bill. Yeah, like I'm capturing them. I'm like, I'll show up in a van and abduct you and take you to a lovely steak dinner. Is what I'm going to do.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here, Derek.
I'm going to pop open with flowers out of a van and a mask on. And I'm going to say, why are you being so nice to me? No, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. Don't appreciate this team and the way they're playing right now, but hopefully they can get things back on track. Not a lot of time. Again, maybe this national series, but after that, some very, very good opponents come into their lives. And I don't know if this team is ready for that at this point, at least with the way they played against this Pirates team. But we appreciate you guys so much for stopping by. We will see you tomorrow. We got a 2 p.m. show. We're going to preview that series with the Nationals, so make sure to stop by for then. And of course, based on some YouTube chats, I might have to kick Kevin off of this show forever. So we're going to talk about that. Make sure to stop by for that. Until then, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Cap_caveman with a K. Shane is at Shane Deef. He does not want you to follow him. He will be furious if you follow him.
I'll drown you in a pool.
Yeah, exactly. And he'll call you a friend is what he'll do. But of course, appreciate you guys again. Of course, our show's at PHNX_Dbacks, but all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And again, we thank you guys so much for your time. We will see you tomorrow. We got the Cardinals show going right now. So until then, behave yourselves tonight. Have a good evening. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but sometimes it's actually just not fun. It's just not fun sometimes.
We all silly like the mayor.